Hey guys, in this video I got a Rekluse clutch for the CRF450RL, and I also put on the Rekluse handbrake and an extra fan, and I will explain you why that makes sense. Because first of all, once you put the Rekluse clutch in, that'll make it better to ride the hard enduro stuff, because this bike, it's very snappy when you crack the throttle even a little bit. So having the Rekluse clutch makes it possible to ride smoother on difficult sections. So we're gonna test that, and also I'll give you a few installation tips for these parts. Okay, and then furthermore, once you have the Rekluse clutch, it may produce a bit more heat, and this bike is also prone to overheating on the slow technical uphill stuff. So by having an extra fan, that should fix that problem. It's already installed. You can turn it on right here on the handlebars like that, and then putting the handbrake on, that's a big benefit whenever you are on really slippery downhill stuff where you tend to skid the rear around. Now you don't have engine braking anymore, keep in mind, with the Rekluse. Then you can really fine modulate the braking power with the rear. And also downhill you can do paddling with your right leg on obstacles on the side while still operating the rear brake. So that's another benefit that's simply impossible to do with a normal foot rear brake. So if that sounds interesting, let's get started with the video, and then we'll also head out on the trails and test it all. And now I'm going to talk about adjusting the idle, because that's actually the most important step for installing a Rekluse clutch and make it work properly. And this was not something I saw when I looked through the installation manual for the Rekluse clutch, and it was also not in the video I was using. I just found a random video on YouTube on how to install the Rekluse clutch. They also didn't talk about that. The thing is, you have to make the idle as low as possible so the bike doesn't keep creeping forward and overheat the clutch basically, okay? And the thing is, you lower the idle by turning this button clockwise, unlike a normal carburetor. So this can also be a little bit confusing. So to lower the idle, you turn it clockwise, okay? And you just keep turning it clockwise until it starts stalling, so it cannot idle anymore. And when it's gotten to the lowest point, then you can just give it a few clicks up, and that should do the job, okay? So that's really important to do that as the first thing before you install it, because then it's going to be a lot easier to adjust the Rekluse clutch, and it's going to run nice and smooth. So this is not going to be a full installation video, but I want to show you that it's actually pretty simple to do the clutch adjustment. But because I made the mistake of not adjusting the idle first, I had to do this 5 or 6 times. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy to do this adjustment so that it's going to run well without creeping forward and still having the free play gain that gives it its proper functionality. So of course you can find another tutorial to see the full installation, but I just wanted to make sure I got this little tip for you with adjusting the idle first, and hopefully that will save you some time. Okay, so here we got the X-Seat fan kit, and I already installed it, so I'm just going to give you a few tips on how to install it. So the first thing you want to do is get off the seat and the side shroud here, and your braces, in case you have radiator braces on. And then in order to fit it in, it fits in here, right, as you can see, you have to remove some of the canister parts that I already put in here. You just remove this, and then you basically can plug it up. It's like a drain. I think it's a coolant drain to the canister. You can just plug that up. And then in order to fit it in here, after you removed all these extra canister parts, you have to bend this little plate out. Just like you see, this one is the original shape. And this one used to be like that too. You just bend it out, and then you can slide the fan up from underneath here, and maybe you have to pull these hoses a bit back, and then you can mount it just like in the manual. They show you how to put these foam pieces in between to reduce wear on the radiator, and then you just pull the plastic zip tie kind of plastic mounting rods, and it looks like it's gonna work really well. They also have foam pads underneath here to eliminate wear on the radiator. So that's an important little step there. And then you just route the wires. There's a fuse box that we we're able to position here, and then you just route the wires under the tank, up here under the plastic here, and then connect it to the battery. And from here I routed the switch up under here, up to the handlebars right here. And you can hear it works really well. It sounds like it's really powerful. And I can feel the wind blowing very strongly on my hand here, so it's like a little vacuum cleaner. Really excited to try that because it used to overheat very easily on difficult, slow uphill sections, like long uphills that are steep. So that should be eliminated now with 2 fans. So the idea is that every time you get to a long uphill section where you know it's probably gonna overheat, you can just switch this one on and run both fans, and the other one will turn on automatically through the thermostat. And of course, if you see the overheating lamp come on here, you'll just immediately switch it on and start cooling it down with double fans, and that should solve the problem. And you can probably even let it run constantly if you want. As long as you're running the engine, you're not draining the battery, so you could also just run it all the time. You can see here I've positioned it below the clutch, so you can get down here, but you can still use the clutch here without your fingers like feeling like they're interacting with the other levers. You could also do something like this and maybe be able to use both levers at the same time. But this has a Rekluse clutch, so you technically don't need to use this clutch for riding. So you could just ride like this all the time if you wanted to. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the last rebleed. So as you can see, I've connected the master cylinder here vertically. So all the air bubbles will travel up here. And then I connected the bleeder syringe to accept all the fluid that comes out here. And then down here, I connected a full syringe of brake fluid, and I made sure it's connected without any air bubbles inside. And then connect it here. So I'm just gonna open this up, and then I'm gonna press all this fluid through the whole system. And that should get rid of the last air bubbles. And then when I have a little bit left here, I'm gonna stop, and then I'll change the position of the master cylinder. So this becomes the high point right here. So the last little few air bubbles that might get trapped up here, they can travel out here. Okay. And then while you're pushing the fluid from the bottom, like you're pushing down here with the syringe, pushing the fluid through here, then you have a friend tap like this on the brake line, and also here it runs here as well. Tap it while the fluid is running through, and also like it also comes all the way down here. Just tap it like continuously while you're pushing the fluid through. That'll release the air bubbles. Okay, so that was my most important tips for installation of the Rekluse clutch and the Rekluse hand rear brake and the fan kit that I put on this bike, which is a good combination for enduro, I would say. Especially for this bike, because it tends to be too snappy and tends to overheat. If you want to see the full test riding video that you're seeing a bit of here, then make sure you subscribe, because I'll post that in a couple of days. But until then, have a great day, ride safe, and have fun riding. Thanks for watching. To watch the full version of my advanced riding videos and support the development of this channel, click the join button below and become a member. And thereby you will get access to exclusive videos where I go through the most advanced skill levels, and also explaining things from a physics standpoint, because I have a background in science and thereby studying physics, so I'm able to explain actual riding technique and the mechanics of riding, also bike setup, in a way that you don't see on many other channels. Also, I share my own step-by-step methods on how I track my own progress and riding technique development. So if you're interested in that, consider becoming a member and clicking the join button. And if you like tropical island holidays, visit fitcamp5.com for my 2-time TripAdvisor award-winning training camp, where we train fitness and action sports together while learning to live a healthy lifestyle and, maybe most importantly, have fun at the same time. And if you're really serious about improving yourself, you should definitely check out my full online courses where I share step-by-step programs on how I develop my own routines over the last 12 years as a CEO working in 4 different countries, while being a successful competitive athlete with more than 20 years of experience in fitness and nutrition. Check the link in the description for that. And in any case, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, be awesome, believe in yourself, and see you on the next one.